if you're holding out on creating videos because you don't feel you have the right gear, well, today I will be testing just how far technology has come. There are 3 participants who will be participating in the challenges I have today. And the first one is the iPhone 12. Are phones catching up with camera quality? Well, that's what I'll be testing today. The next contestant is the GoPro Hero 9. Is this action camera, this pocket rocket, able to compete with cameras above its weight? Our last contestant is a full-frame DSLR camera. Is the quality of the image worth carrying around this extra bulk? The first test we will be doing is stabilization. If there's any element that makes the quality of your video not look prime, it's probably shaky footage. If you're planning any movement in your video, shaky footage is what you need to look out for. So this is an example of me vlogging around my house, because you may be wondering, is smooth footage something you should consider even if you're just hoping to vlog? But as I'm sure you can see, having smooth footage, even if you're vlogging, just walking around your home, it does help. So I'm putting in a good run and I'm still able to deliver some creamy footage for your viewing satisfaction. Well, hello guys, I'm doing a tutorial in this video, and what I'm showing you is that stabilization is not something that I'm focusing on in this particular shot because the camera's in a fixed position and no movement is needed. The first test will require me going backwards, getting my husband running forwards. I'm scouting the location for the end of the run. I'm going to try run backwards over here while Bry's running straight at me, and then I'll be testing how creamy we can get the footage to be. So I'll be holding the GoPro, probably something like this, and running backwards like this. Then I've got the iPhone over here, which I will also be holding like this and then running backwards like this. And then finally I've got the DSLR, so I'm using my big boy to record me now. This is the little guy, but I will be holding it in somewhat of this fashion, also running backwards. And let's see what is going to give us the best footage. Using additional equipment and gear to try help stabilize the footage, but I'm not going to be using gimbals for a phone or a GoPro or the camera because I want you to get a rough idea of how these cameras perform without any additional accessories. These accessories do add up and can get quite pricey, so it would be nice to know if you're going to make an investment, what is going to set you up for success, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of movement. Now, if I had to rank them, I would say that the GoPro performed the best when it comes to stabilization. And then I would actually say that the iPhone came second. There must be something inside of the iPhone that helps stabilize the footage somewhat. It wasn't great, but it was still better than the DSLR. And I think the reason why the DSLR was so shocking is because it's quite heavy to run around with a clunky camera, trying to keep yourself straight, but running backwards, tripping over some things. It does make it very difficult to hold it in one place. So some DSLR cameras, they do have stabilization built into the body of the camera, or some even into the lens, but my bad boy has got no stabilization built in whatsoever, and that is why the footage is so shaky. But this is a rough test that I put it through. There are ways that you could move around very slowly, but I think putting it through such an extreme test will help you see what you're likely to get if you're planning to incorporate movement as chaotic as running can be. Alright, we're off to our next test, and if you've enjoyed this video so far, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. Thank you very much. The next test that we will be putting these cameras through is to identify which camera gives us the best depth of field. So I'm going to take you somewhere wonderful, to a wonderland of everything beautiful and happy. I'm going to take you to the world of Lush, and I think this is also going to be a very good test because we will see how these cameras perform indoors as well. first camera I invested in was my GoPro, and I loved creating footage on the GoPro, but I don't know if you've ever seen a Bill Gates interview, but behind him you can see his blurry leather-bound books. You know, it's got that clean, that crisp, that expensive feel that really makes his videos look high quality. And I was just curious, you know, how does he get this? And this got me excited to identify which cameras could give me the best depth of field. And I guess another reason the whole blurry background vibe seemed quite cool is because, let's say for example, my background wasn't quite neat, I could still film and nobody would know what was behind me. Also, it has a bit of a magical feel. You know, if you see somebody and everything behind them is blurry, I don't know, it just gives it such a cool vibe. Now let's talk about what I think the winners of this test were. I would definitely give it to the DSLR, prime time. And then the iPhone, that came in second. And the GoPro, I didn't expect much in terms of depth of field. That one definitely gets third place in this test. What we're doing now is we are going to test how well these cameras perform in low light. I'm expecting the DSLR to be the shining star of this test because it's got the largest sensor when it compares to all of the cameras together. We don't have to get into the science, but just as an FYI, generally speaking, the bigger the sensor, the better the quality of the footage will be because more light actually comes into the camera. Maybe I would presume that the iPhone would be second, but who knows? Let's test it out and see for ourselves. To identifying which camera is going to fit you best at nighttime or in low light conditions, it might be good to just understand what your camera skills are. Because if you are using a DSLR in auto mode, then you are likely to experience some inconsistent footage. As the lighting changes, the auto mode changes, and then you sort of find yourself in a bit of a disco of different lighting scenarios. So if you could learn how to shoot in manual, then you are setting yourself up for greatness because you can make all of the little tweaks you need in the editing room. And then this could make the DSLR the best in my opinion. So if you know how to shoot in manual, just check out what we were able to capture when the lights got really dark. All of the beautiful twinkling lights behind me became such a gorgeous attraction. It's DSLR magic at its best. So if you know how to use manual, you can really create some epic footage. So cinematic. Now, I'm going to quickly talk about the iPhone and the GoPro. Earlier on, I spoke to you about sensor size, and the GoPro does have the smallest sensor, which explains why it had the most grainy footage. The iPhone did reasonably well because it did have a slightly bigger sensor size, but I was quite surprised. I actually quite liked the footage from the iPhone. So what do we learn from this video? Which camera is the best? I think the first thing you need to think about is what you can afford. If you can afford an iPhone, that's a great place to start because it does act as your phone. You are able to get your emails, it serves a lot of purposes, and the footage isn't quite bad. If you do have a slightly bigger budget, then the DSLR is amazing. But if you're in the market of capturing action footage, then I don't think it gets better than the GoPro. So if you're looking for a grand winner, the ultimate camera, well, you can manipulate every single camera to make it better by adding accessories. But again, this just costs more money, so you need to think about what you can afford. What is the goal? Is the goal to make content? Is the goal to make videos? Then figure out which camera is going to help you create the videos that you want the best at a price that you can afford. So I loved putting this test together, and if you enjoyed it too, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. Thank you very much, and consider subscribing to my channel. I will leave a playlist at the end for you if you are somebody who's interested in creating videos, especially in the world of YouTube. Then I will link a playlist for you at the end with all of my videos describing my whole YouTube journey. and I will also include some more videos just talking you through some additional equipment that I have tried out when it comes to creating videos. So check out the end screen and the description. I'm sure you'll find some videos that you'll enjoy. Otherwise, thank you for spending your time with me. I wish you a marvelous day. See you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.